Wow, bummer. There's no intro.
I thought there was an
Nothing going
intro
on.
or something. Didn't you have an
Nope.
You have no intro?
We had an intro just now. We just didn't have anything beyond that.
Oh, I was taking a nap. I thought you had something going on.
It's just going to be our charm. You're going to see what we have to say with the illustrious Hannah Gutierrez-Reed.
Gutierrez.
All right, so we've been going back and forth on this, and we've also complained about the quantity of information that was dumped from the sheriff's office. And to try and get a handle on it, we've decided let's just start looking at one person, their testimony, and then we'll go shift, look at another person testimony. Hopefully sources report in or something reports in between that can help enhance what we're putting out, but we're starting out today with the armor.
Okay.
So jump right in. No.
Right. Okay. I just want to say this one thing about the gun going off thing that we were talking about yesterday. You mentioned the SUV. All the media now uses the phrase "that went off," the gun that went off.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody does it, left, right, center. Every publication says that went off. And you pointed out it's like the SUV that killed all the people in Wisconsin, right?
Yeah, it's a dangerous world. You know, you've got red SUVs out there driving themselves. You have Alec Baldwin guns out there shooting people.
Right.
I mean, dude, I don't know. I'm wondering what's coming next. What offending inanimate object is going to be coming after us? Thank you, Tony.
Thanks, Tony. Thanks. It's weird. I mean, the thing that just went off. I mean, it's a new journalistic phrase, and like you said, there's SUVs driving themselves and hate crimes with no perpetrators. I mean, it's just crazy the amount of. That's right. That's where it was. Right. Whatever that pronunciation of that town is.
I think it's Waukesha, but
Waukesha. It was. Yeah.
I think.
Right.
Or Waukesha.
Right.
Let's not be Waukesha.
Right.
Woke would be bad.
Waukesha.
Well, you're a New Yorker, so you have to add an R at the end, right?
Yeah, I don't think we could help ourselves. There was somebody in the chat about confirming the Brooklyn accent of New Orleans a couple of weeks ago that we had discussed, and how the shipping went around and they all sounded like they were from Brooklyn.
Was it Brooklyn or Bronx?
No, Brooklyn. It's because of the Brooklyn Navy Yard. I mean, the Navy, all the shipping is in Brooklyn, by the way. Okay. There's no shipping in the Bronx. Despite what Nate thinks, nobody's shipping anything to the Bronx. You got to take that overland route to get to the Bronx. But with Brooklyn, that's, when they sent all the ships were there, the German submarines in World War II. That's when
Black Tom explosion.
Right, but that was on the other side. But the Brooklyn side was that's when they sent the mob to Sicily and Italy to help out with the Brooklyn Navy Yard and to protect it. So there's a lot of Brooklyn accents by the Brooklyn Navy Yard.
Well, okay, here we go. Somebody's bringing up a good point.
The thing that just went off cost me 18 years of child support. That's interesting. We were just discussing the morning after pill, Eric and I, as two men usually do. And I've got a vending machine in my house, and you just put in a couple of dollars. I've had the vending machine for years. The service on it is terrible. It's like having a bad jukebox in a bad neighborhood, but it's better than some of the other options. Let me put it that way. If it goes generic, we're going to call it the morning dew pill.
No, morning done.
Morning done pill, right? There it is. This is what two knuckleheads talk about off camera, by the way.
What is it? Instead of unbreaded, it's fully or partially baked.
Or partially baked, half baked with David Chappelle.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see. What in general did you find with Hannah? We'll start looking at footage here as we go.
Okay, so there's two videos, 2 different days. One you're going to see is a few hours or after the incident, and then the second one is days later, where she comes back with her mouthpiece, who Never says a word. It is the strangest mouthpiece of all time. The guy's doing crossword puzzles. I don't know. You'll check it out when you see it.
He does speak a lot though outside of it. The guy shows up on Good Morning America.
Right, that's what you were telling me, right? This guy, I've never seen a lawyer like this. I mean, she's answering her own questions. She doesn't even look at him.
No,
I think he whispers to her at the beginning. He's whispering, which you won't be able to hear, but you do hear her. She's extremely fearless. She's extremely intelligent. She's extremely honest. She's extremely putting herself in a bad light at times. You know, she says, F me, I'm finished, you know, whatever. I mean, self-deprecation, beating up on herself, you know, very smart, obviously smarter than these cops. And she's not trying to wiggle out of anything. She's trying to help explain to these cops how bullets even work. I don't understand how these people are cops. My takeaway from the entire thing is, this is, you know, Mayberry RFD police force. I don't know where they found these people, and you're going to see that. We're going to explain it in a couple of seconds. It's breathtaking who these people are. She's literally trying to help them do their own job with her, and we'll see how that unfolds in some of the clips. But you know, it's kind of like what's my line? Remember the game show, Eric, where they ask you questions and they're trying to figure out what you do for a living? You know, they're asking her questions about her job, having really nothing to do with the crime or the incident or the negligent homicide or whatever. You know, like, what time do you go to lunch? You go, I go at 12:30. Where do you go? We all eat together. You know, every single thing is explained to them like they're high school, you know, students. And they seem to know nothing, not even anything about ballistics or bullets or guns or anything that you think cops would know about in general. They seem to know nothing about bullets.
Yeah, and Ziggy brings a good point. And Mark and I have talked about it. It is possible. Mark doubts it that they're doing in Colombo. He's saying they're too convincing.
No.
But no. I don't know. I mean,
I don't think so. I don't think. Well, you'll see for yourselves.
Yeah. Well, now obviously we've cherry picked. We've got a bunch of clips, but it's just to get a general feel to talk our way through different points in the interview. Anyone can go look on YouTube. People are actually uploading the footage that's provided by Santa Fe and getting free cheap views on it, which sort of irritates me, honestly.
Right.
But okay, good. What?
Rare copy of Dirty Jokes. Okay.
Oh, your book.
Oh, mine. Oh, wow, that's interesting. Yeah, thanks for the videos.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting because, you know, if they're playing dumb, they're doing a really good job of it, and there's really nothing to reveal. Like, she mentions, they ask her who owns the prop truck, and she says, I don't know. Then they said, well, who drove it? And they go, this guy, this older Mexican guy, she says, who had a nice mustache, and all of a sudden they perk up like there's a suspect. You know, like any cop thing that they could get their hands on, even if it's meaningless, they perk up and they go, "What? How much was his weight? How old was he? How tall?" And it's got nothing to do. And she's like, "going, I don't know. He was the guy with the truck. He didn't go anywhere." And they're going, "Did you get a look at him? Did you get his name?" I mean, you'll see. I mean, it's kind of absurd how they cop up, you know. And then we'll see the sidekick in episode 2, who Eric and I will point out, the male counterpart of what's her name, Hancock.
Yeah, Detective Alexandra Hancock.
Alexander Hancock with the hair from Breck. I just want to point that out. The Breck hair will come into play in this episode. And you ladies at home will know what I mean by her Breck hair. Go ahead, Eric.
And by the way, stick around. She wasn't always a cop.
That's
she
right.
She had other employment in the past that comes up in the interview. And
I had to
very
do personal research to find this out. I had to go undercover to find out about her past.
So everybody needs to keep watching. This is called a retention statement or question.
When we do a Baldwin, we find the most offbeat crap about the Baldwin case that anybody could come up with. I have no idea if this is relevant to anything, but it was fascinating to me personally. So,
yep, it's definitely a new kind of dot. So let's go and open up here.
And you put the gun before going to lunch back in the safe.
Yes.
But the blanks and dummies were left on the cart.
Yeah.
Did you, when you got back, were they Did they look moved or tampered with or touched when you got back from lunch?
They did not. No, nothing seemed out of the ordinary.
Okay.
Was the gun still in the safe after lunch?
Yeah.
Who pulled it out?
Sarah pulled it out and she handed it to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you watched her?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
This point, and I watched these before too, but this is something that stood out to me. The guns are the only part, or the only thing that are actually locked up in the safe,
Right.
and that does stand out. The ammunition or dummies are not attended to. They're in the cart, and she said at another point, just kind of, well, they're sort of locked up, but they're not really locked up. They're just kind of there, and this may or may not be significant, but they were definitely left unattended because all of them leave the place to go have lunch.
Yeah.
I forget what they call it. Like they leave to, not the compound, but they leave to go somewhere else, and they all eat lunch at another location.
Right.
So that I thought was really striking because there's a giant problem here with the custody of the ammo or supervision of the ammo, however we look at it.
Keep in mind, it's not technically ammo.
Well, okay. Well, there are blanks in that too, and that is ammo.
Right. It is ammo. Absolutely correct. But
So
it's not,
I'm going to
a
push
quarter
back.
load is not going to kill a man. And
True, but it is unsupervised. And
right. Absolutely true. I just want to point out one thing, that Hannah was sitting there with no mask on. The Breck girl comes in on your left. That's Hancock on your lower left with no mask. The girl on the right never takes her mask off, and you could barely hear what she's saying. So I thought to myself, what a way to do an interrogation. You're wearing a mask, the suspect's wearing a mask, and you're trying to read their features and facial expressions, but you can't, not even for the camera, because they're insisting on wearing masks, these police. But the other one's not.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really bizarre.
Yeah, I mean, but
there's a time when Hannah puts her mask back on when she gets nervous. That's why it's important. There's body language things here that you'll see in the course of this that I thought was relevant, but maybe not.
Well, I think everything is potentially relevant. And by the way, I do apologize about the sound. The footage is actually taken from a security camera that's coming down from the ceiling into the room. And I believe the sound is because the microphone is on that camera and picking up the building, probably air conditioning, other humming that's in the ceiling, etc. Mm-hmm. And I was not able to get software to strip that sound out. Just a time issue. So it is going to have that kind of annoying hum. I apologize ahead of time, but at least that you can hear them. It's moderately clear. So let's go on and we'll look at the mask situation.
Okay.
And play.
I'm ready.
Play. Yeah, I'm ready too.
Okay.
For some reason, it is not wanting to play the video.
Okay.
Let's try it again. There we go.
So, okay. All right. Let me just clarify a little bit. So prior to lunch, the guns, you had them out.
Yeah.
And where were they when they were out?
They were inside with all the camera crew and everything. It's, COVID, everything happening right now. They don't really like a lot of people in there.
Okay.
And so usually I'm like hardly allowed in there unless there's actual firing happening.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were you inside this morning?
I walked in there and I handed the gun to Alex a couple of times, and Alex took it, and everyone was there with him.
Alec?
Alec.
Okay.
Baldwin, yeah.
Baldwin? Okay, so you handed him the gun this morning.
Yeah.
Does he pass it off to anybody, or were you able to see that?
At one point, Dave had it, the assistant director, but he was just sitting in with it, and then I saw him, and I was like, okay, this is fine. He's just sitting in, and then I walked out, and yeah.
And how do you?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to point out with this little clip, that she puts the mask on for reasons I don't know, or why, other than emotional reasons at that point, because Hancock's not wearing a mask. She's talking to a woman without a mask, and for some reason in the middle of the conversation puts hers on.
Yes, she also starts shifting because it's like Hancock's like, okay, I'm starting to get into detail. It's like, straighten up, get the mask on now. Ironically, I hate to tell Hannah, putting the mask on probably, well, one of the body language people would make her even easier to read.
Yeah, I don't know, but it was just a nervous reflex that I would presume means I'm trying to cover up some emotional expression at that point, right, Eric? Or
it could, or somebody's pointed out Kelly Mackey. Yes, she did say something about COVID, then put it on, so that could have been a cue. Oh, that's right. I gotta put this on because obviously those protocols were in effect and really, really paranoid. But I'm going to say that she could have been using it to cover it, could have been doing that, but she was definitely tensing up. Her whole body shifted. I'm not going to make a ton out of the crossed arms because that's a common thing with body language. And I didn't see her clutching. It was more of a, I got to do something with my arms pose.
Well, just to point out,
comfort.
in the second tape, the COVID protocols go out the window because nobody's wearing a mask. So something happens to change the protocols in a couple of days. So we'll see in episode 2.
Probably science.
Science itself, yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Well, we got them from from Seth, our supplier and everything.
Okay.
But Seth borrowed them from someone. I don't know who.
Borrowed the ones that you have?
Yeah. Yeah.
And how do you know he borrowed them?
I don't know. That's what Sarah said. And then as soon as Sarah called Seth, I don't know. I don't know if she talked to him or anything about this.
Okay.
You mean today, if she called him today and already talked to him, or when?
I don't. I know she called him, but I didn't get to hear the police officer told her to stop talking to me.
Okay.
So I don't really know what happened with that. But yeah, so.
Okay.
I like her OCD there. It's like she really did not like those rounds spread around. She was collecting them and putting them together. Now,
well, she lowered the mask too for reasons that I don't understand, and then the hair girl has taken her hair down the Hancock with the Breck hair. So that's going to come into play.
Detective Breck.
That's going to come into play in a couple of segments here. That's why I keep mentioning the hair. Which is true. Also, when you look at her body cam footage from Hancock, and I don't know if we're going to show that angle, but you're looking through a jungle of hair. And when I couldn't figure out what the hell I was looking at, but her body cam is covered by her hair. So it looks like you're looking through a series, like a beaded closet divider, like with beads, but it's her hair. So,
we don't have that, but it is out there.
Right.
Get the body cam footage in.
Right.
Blitzen, I did think that it's a good point. Hannah is keeping tabs on the ammo. Technically, she could be doing her job while sitting there in the room. Just a habit of I got to keep a track on it. I've got to make sure it's all in one
They
place.
have her Jiffy pack. What's that called when you have a pack around your waist?
A bum bag.
They have that
pack.
in evidence, which has the real dummies and the real blanks in it. So she's reaching into her pockets for these, by the way, which may be a sign of things to come.
Yes, there was some
she's loaded with bullets and shells all over the place.
Yeah, she definitely
She's
did.
taking these out of her pocket, Eric.
Yeah. All right.
Tell me about what happened yesterday. Did something happen, or did they just walked off set and said
I have no idea. I think at the end of the night they all quit. The camera crew always bickered a lot, to be honest. A lot of, I don't know, just animosity, I guess, or them with the grits. Everybody, that whole, it's almost unpleasant to be inside there just because it's so, toxic. Yeah.
That was interesting. We're starting to get into the camera crew. We've all heard from Lane Looper immediately. I mean, he was out the next day all over Good Morning America or everywhere else. And I think it's Today's Show saying the problems, and then her talking about how it was really, really kind of toxic. What did you think about that?
Well, the reason I selected it was because of that word toxic. And it's a good point because she doesn't even want to go in there. She'll say in a couple of segments, Eric, that she was happier staying outside because of the toxic nature of the crew on the inside, bickering and doing all this crap, and then eventually quitting. I mean, the cop is not wrong. I mean, she's obviously, this is a new interrogation, a new questioning. It just happened. I mean, the first thing I would look at is, why did the camera crew quit? She's looking for possible people who are disgruntled, which makes perfectly logical cop sense.
Oh, well, yeah, especially because it's something unusual.
That's what she said. Yeah.
A camera crew walks off of it's like, how do you have a film without a damn camera crew? It really does take away from the operation slightly.
Dude, I'm telling you, it's either the biggest coincidence in the world or it's got some meaning, but it seems to be a coincidence.
Apparently, or it seems to be endemic, and that's why the whole thing happened, is because everything was
everything unravels.
Freaking mess. You had
protocols. Remember at the time they put out these statements saying there was no animosity on the set. Those people signed that declaration.
Oh yeah, Alec Baldwin said that. Oh, it's beautiful, it's wonderful, it's the best ever. And you know what? He was carrying over Trump.
Even the new crew signed it, and they weren't even there before the old crew. So, you know, it was kind of like the intelligence officers signing the letter. The 50 intelligence officers about Hunter Biden's laptop.
Oh yes. Well, I was gonna say it was like Baldwin was carrying over his Trump impression, saying it was the bestest set ever, with the best personalities and the most safe and the most wonderful. I mean, remember in the interview, he's like, "Oh, I had no idea there was anything until Lane Lipper said, we got to talk about my room."
Right.
But everything else is perfect.
She's saying otherwise. So
yeah, which is interesting because so who were they battling with here? Now
I don't know.
I cheated and shared the Mamie Mitchell stuff with you from Dave Halls. So we know that Dave Halls and Mamie Mitchell did not get along. Now, who were the camera crew battling? Because there's only so many people involved. The camera crew included Halyna Hutchins as the DP.
You're not going to bitch to her. The only person logically and legally to bitch to is Alec Baldwin as a producer.
Or Halls.
I mean, what are you going to do? Bitch to Halls? He's the AD. He's not.
What I'm saying is, who was the conflict between? Was it the camera crew and the script supervisor, the stunt coordinator? There's only a handful of people in there, and it's like there's all this bad blood.
My interpretation, this is just my opinion, is that they're muttering under their breath and saying "fuck this shoot," which is what people do anyway. I mean, I've been on sets where people walk around. No, everybody does it. So she could be referring to, fuck this film. I'm getting the fuck off this set. That's what people do anyway. So they don't have to be dealing with a person, is all I'm saying.
Well, you know what? You get me up at 5 a.m. and dragging crap around. I'll probably be bitching too.
Oh, yeah. I mean, let me tell you something. Most indie sets are not romper room. There's a lot of bitter balls in there. There's a lot of bitter balls.
Yeah, I've been on a couple extreme indies, and they're not a party.
Right.
Okay, so here, I guess I'll intro it a little bit. She's talking about something happened with one of the other guns.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
They weren't supposed to be pulling the hammer back or anything. Like, it was just supposed to be in the shot. And so I don't know why it was pulled back. I don't know what, I mean, if they wanted it pulled back, like, that's fine. I had no idea about it, But even then, it shouldn't have gone on. Yeah. So that's why I was like, okay, like, it's right there. I stand right by whenever there's gunfire. I'm still there whenever the shit's there, but I'm not usually directly inside the room just because they don't find it necessary.
Yeah.
I take it back. There's another hammer reference later that I got confused with.
I thought you got confused, but this one's important too, Eric.
It is, because they weren't supposed to be doing hammer.
She's being extremely diplomatic and not explaining the COVID zones A, B, and C. And she's being very diplomatic because they're boxing her out of zone A, which is really what's happening. It's not like she wants to be outside. They're enforcing this bizarre IATSE ruling that everyone's got to be in a COVID zone. And if there is a zone, which sounds incredibly deranged, who but her should be in the A zone? Her. Right. But she's not. She's not. And she's taking it on the chin, saying, okay, I'm going to be outside. I accept that. She's an eager beaver. She wants to make it in the business. And she's, getting pummeled from all sides, which we're going to see in a little while. But about the hammer, what she's talking about is that was not on the call sheet or in the script, or she wasn't even notified about the hammer. And I think that's important.
Right, because then I feel like she's saying that she would fight harder or demand to be there
That's
because
right.
something was going to be going off. But
That's right.
just holding something who, she didn't necessarily need to be there.
Well, I mean, the equivalent would be, he grabs one of the other actors and puts the gun to the actor's head, right? And she's looking at the script going, where the hell did this come from? You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, she would be confused. Like, this wasn't in the script. This is not on the call sheet. And I think that's what she's referring to, is the hammer. And the second reference to the hammer, which is what I think you're looking for.
Yeah, that's coming up later.
Is going to explain this hammer a little bit better.
Maybe. We've gone back and forth on it. So we'll discuss it. All right. So.
And that's why it's like they're not supposed to pull the hammer back, but it still is a prop gun or prop.
It's a real gun. It's a real fucking gun.
Your prop.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, totally.
Now I know why you pulled this, and I agree, because the very first episode we did, the only reason we were covering it is because everybody kept saying prop gun, and you're saying it's a real effing gun.
Right.
And then what did she just say? It's a real, even the cops don't understand it's a real effing gun. So you could see how crazy.
They have the gun in their possession.
Right.
They still don't know it's a real gun that killed somebody. I find that to be breathtaking. I imagine they get the rifle from Lee Harvey Oswald and goes, is this a prop rifle? Is this the real rifle? I mean, it's in the Zapruder film. It's in a movie. I don't know. I mean, we're watching the Zapruder film. He's shooting a rifle. No, I mean, it's just crazy. And she explodes. She explodes over it. And she must have told this to other cops. So
I think she had that tone of exasperation of
right.
No, it is.
I love this girl. I love her.
I know you do. No sound, Debbie Bullock. I don't know. Everybody else isn't complaining, so please check your sound. I think it might be on your end.
Yeah.
Folks, Google doesn't always cooperate with me.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I'm going to refresh it.
I know. I don't know. I wish I would have checked it more.
You see, that's important.
Yes.
That's talking to herself.
Yeah.
That's talking to herself. She's beating the shit out of herself. And I feel for her, because she's ultimately saying, I should have checked it more. And there she is sitting with the police, and she feels like a failure. No matter what.
By the way, who else did?
Who else did what?
Who else beat themselves up? Who else said I should have checked?
Halls?
Yep.
That's right.
Yep. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
There's only one out of 3 people who handled the gun who said it's not my problem.
Yeah.
Only one asshole.
Yeah.
Who's like, it ain't mine. It ain't my problem.
Yeah. It's so funny because I'm glad you
guilty.
mentioned that, because if Baldwin had taken the same tone as them,
we wouldn't be complaining. No, we wouldn't complain at all. We'd be like, oh, dude. I mean, we would have felt bad. We say, how'd it happen? We need to investigate. But I would not be sitting there, kick this guy around or whatever. But his attitude of, that's not my problem. Yeah, somebody's at fault, but it ain't me.
It's a star's attitude. Like, this is the crew. They fucked me. I'm a star. The crew screwed me over. This is a typical star attitude.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to see her seeing that too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And Dave Hall seeing it. And by the way, and I keep bringing up Dave Halls because we were preloaded. That Dave Halls was the asshole. Everyone hated him. Not, everybody in the industry couldn't stand him. Somehow he's worked on like 60 freaking movies over 20 years, but everybody hates him.
Everybody hates the AD anyway. I mean, that goes
right.
Seth knows this at home. Seth, who's watching and whatever bunker he's in. Like I said, the stunt people and the gun people are like carnies on a film. Nobody wants to engage with them. They're the outsiders, but ADs are the parent dick, who's your father.
They're the adult.
Right. And everybody hates the father. And everybody hates, in this case, Halls, but every AD is like that.
All right. I'm not sure of the context, but thank you for the super chat. What happened to Back to Blue? I
The
probably
police,
missed
I
it.
think. He's talking about the police.
We don't know where the live round came from. It's still, and there were other unspent live rounds. I don't think they were in the gun.
No.
They were in the belt. There was like 2 in the belt, a couple in her bag. They were all over the place.
They're all over the place. Yeah.
Earlier episodes I broke down exactly where they all were, and it's I'm sure in the police reports as well. But anyway, I just thought that it's interesting, her and Halls, and I don't know if Halls or the director of her speak. They were interviewed, and we will go over the Halls interview. I don't know if we'll do that next.
No. Halls has spoken. We could do the Halls interview next, right?
Well, yeah, but he hasn't spoken out. He's been in an interview.
Right.
But
the director has not said a word. I mean,
he was interviewed as well.
No, but I mean, publicly, he issued a statement, and that was the end of it, the beginning.
Right, same as Halls. Halls has a lawyer. Yeah, he hasn't said any more other than we can do the police interview, and we may do that because everybody's covering the Baldwin interview, so I feel like we should do
right.
other
I'm just
relevant
saying, if
people.
this had happened on a Tarantino or Oliver Stone set, I don't think Oliver Stone and Tarantino would be this quiet as Sousa is. Just my opinion.
Well, they'd have their lawyers out talking, maybe. I think that they're pretty advanced enough to say, don't say anything other than release statements on how they're grieving for the
what
widow.
What is Sousa going to do? He's a victim. What is he going to upset?
Well, he could. I would recommend he just goes out. If he did anything, release statements saying, "I'm so sorry for the family." That's it.
Not the director. He's the boss, Eric. He should be. He should have been speaking more, not him. I mean, look, when the script supervisor is speaking more than you are, you got a problem.
Well, thank you, Degree. Thank you very much.
What?
YouTube's been giving people problems to super chat, and she got downgraded, so she just gave more money to support us more. So thank you so much.
Unrelenting between PayPal and YouTube. I mean, they will not leave anybody alone.
No,
it's unbelievable. They can't fucking let go of anybody.
No, and I'm really thankful because there have been people who were like, I can't send a super chat. I'm like, well, I have PayPal, and then they've sent it. And I mean, it's embarrassing that we're out here doing it. People are trying to give a tip, and then they can't give a tip, and I don't know what to tell anybody. Yeah. So thank you everyone for really trying to support. It does make a big difference. So on that note, okay, here we go. What about Sarah?
Oh, yeah.
What about Sarah? How much do you know about her? How long have you worked with her? She's like the nicest little Christian girl ever. Okay.
I'm going to play that one. I'm going to play that again. Hold on.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant.
What about Sarah? How much do you know about her? How long have you worked with her? She's like the nicest little Christian girl ever. Okay.
I mean, I love. First of all, she's being sarcastic, and the cop doesn't even pick up on it. The cop could be the nicest Christian girl in the world too. You know, I mean, it's rather presumptuous of Hannah to say that, but she's being sarcastic, and she's also repeating a statement made to her by who, Eric?
Seth Kenney.
Right. And apparently it's true, which is not that there's anything wrong with that, but she says it so sarcastically, and Seth Kenney identifies her as this really nice Christian girl, as if we're savage carnies with tattoos.
Well,
this is
which nice isn't Christian... completely okay. Hold on now.
What?
I'm not gonna beat up on Hannah, but Hannah and Sarah have traveled different paths. Okay,
right.
If you look at Hannah, Hannah's a little bit more rock and roll.
A little bit. A little bit.
And Sarah's a little bit more choir girl, for sure.
I mean, if I was to explain somebody and say she's a nice Christian girl, you know what that means, right?
Yeah.
Bless her heart.
That's exactly what that means.
That's what she's saying.
Yes, yes.
But we are roustabouts in a carnival, right? And like, yes. I don't know how she's gotten involved with us because we are, party animal, hungover, drinking, tattooed people who got tattoos and we don't know how they got there type of people. And there's this really the nicest Christian girl you ever met, as Sarah.
And it is significant because it has come up.
Yeah,
it's come up multiple times.
Yeah.
I have all the texts that have gone around, and there were some references about Hannah. Your language is a little bit out there. You remember, Sarah is a very strong Christian girl.
Well, let me just say this. There's very few strong Christian girls on a movie set. So, I mean, it is like a bunch of drunken sailors language-wise. and that.
I'm sure. I am sure. Thank you very much. Super chat skinny flag. I don't know. On Rumble, they have the rant option. I've already got a rant from somebody, or we've gotten one from Seasoned Crawfish.
Wow.
On Rumble so far in this episode. So thank you very much.
No crawfish.
I don't know how to do it. I know that down by the little chat button, there's a bag of money, a little money bag. I think that's how you do it. I'm not sure, but I do appreciate anyone who's making the effort.
And now back to our show.
Always like, hey, gotta hit the register every once in a while.
Back to the story. When we last left,
Sarah, well, actually, no, we're transitioning now to day 2.
Oh, day 2.
This is a few days later,
right?
And
this is jarring.
No, I want to thank everyone for sticking around at least this far. We are now going to learn that our detective, hasn't always been a detective.
Well, just hold on for a second, because you're going to see a different.
Oh, look at
Hannah
this
here. You're going to see Hannah dressed up with her.
Look at her hair. She's got a lawyer.
Right. I'm just saying it's a different look.
Yep.
And she's obviously dressing for success here.
Well, she looks like a good Christian girl.
Right. Okay. I just want to point that out. And this guy's a lawyer. The girl, the woman on the right is Hancock. Mm-hmm. The Breck girl, it's now tied up the hair. And the guy on the left, I just want to point out, because every time we show the guy on the left, keep in mind, he's a
note taker.
He never asks a question, and he makes believe he's writing notes. But because the camera is over his shoulder, this is what we did in high school, Eric, where we made believe we took notes so the teacher could see our hand moving. I want the audience to watch, as we show these videos, how nothing ever appears on his legal pad. Roll it.
Like the change in color of hair. Is that your natural?
That was, that was what I got the most hate on. So I was like, it's just hair. I'll change it, guys. Yeah, so.
You want to know something really totally off topic, but.
Okay, you might know something really off topic. Yeah, we're in the middle of an investigation. We're talking. Let's go shift something off topic.
Okay, let me just say, if you remember that Hannah's hair was black and green before.
Black, green, and blonde.
Right.
I think.
Okay, so this is her natural color, and for some reason, Hancock is now going to flash back in time to her own life.
Yes.
So that's just to set it up, so we know where Hancock worked before this. Go ahead, Eric.
Exactly.
When I was in high school, I was a hostess at Hooters, and they told me that I had to dye my hair brown or blonde.
Yeah.
Because red was a unnatural color of hair.
Whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Like,
jeez.
no, they
heard about hair color.
Yeah.
It's temporary. Oh, well.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah, I was like, red is my natural color. Like,
that's weird.
No thanks, but it was, back then there was a whole different environment.
Yeah.
Only natural boobs too at Hooters, right?
Yeah, there you go. No.
And there you go, Hannah.
It's a great line by Hannah. You got to give it to her, Eric.
But it's kind of funny because it's like Hannah slips right back into, I'm still the rebel person inside. Go immediately to it.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's a great line. Only natural boobs at Hooters. I mean, the fact that she's compelled to talk about her job at Hooters and this negligent homicide or intentional homicide is slightly bizarre. Now, she could be, doing some Columbo mind meld trick on Hannah, but I've got my doubts. I think this is a woman obsessed with her hair, obsessed with her looks, obsessed with her outfit, obsessed with working at Hooters, and probably enamored with the film business, from what I could tell with the interview with Alec Baldwin. I don't know what the Hooters thing has to do with anything.
It is odd. It is really an odd pull. I mean, it's not like I just can't even think about it.
No, I know. It's so off. It's so out there.
I guess the hair color I couldn't have, but Okay, whatever.
How about
Okay.
Hannah's lawyer who finds it to be outrageous? He's going to jump on another lawsuit against Hooters. I think he smells
As
money
he
here.
should. As he should. You
Lily
know?
Rush on cold case. I'm not. Miss Mitchell's on the case.
Yes,
I don't know who
thank
Lily
you.
Rush is on cold case, but maybe that's the same thing. I mean, maybe she saw it on cold case and she's copying it. Maybe it's something from a TV show.
Could be. We've got a lot of copying going on. You got Amber Heard copying Johnny Depp every day. It's
Right.
like the wardrobe. So hey,
Right.
why not? Why not? No, nobody has their own identities. I don't know.
Well,
It is-
she's had numerous hairstyles in the course of the interviews. So I have to point out that maybe she wanted the body cam to work this time and not have the hair in front of the body cam. I'm not really sure what the bun thing is about, but keep in mind the incredible note taking by Detective Tex-Mex there.
No, yeah. Well, we'll keep watching his industrious scribe work as it goes along, because this is going through time.
Right.
Let's
What do we
see.
have now? What is this one?
Well, now we're finding out. Okay, how did you get your job? Some basic, background.
Well, we know how Hancock got the job. The cops
no,
must have
no,
been in
Hannah,
Hooters.
yes. Well, I mean, where are they going to spend their lunches? It's either the donut
At
shop
Hooters.
or go upscale.
Yeah.
Donuts for breakfast and Hooters for lunch. And no, actually, we've got this.
And I sent back one of the guns because the hammer was pulled back and it wouldn't
Ooh.
release back down. And I don't know, he said something about I cleaned it wrong or something. I'm not sure, but I cleaned 17 other pistols that day, so I don't know how I did that one wrong.
Okay. Do you remember which one that was?
That was actually one of Miller's guns and not related to the incident really, but Miller was one of the deputies and just one of his, the hammer got stuck back, and I've never encountered that before, so
Okay.
went ahead and sent it back.
Touche, my friend. This is important. Touche.
Touche to what? What did I say? What are you toucheing?
No. She's saying that I've never encountered this
Sure.
before. I sent it back to Seth Kenny, and the hammer was stuck open. Now we have a situation moments later in real time where a hammer is going to come into play with Baldwin. I mean, the whole discussion by Baldwin is about the hammer.
Right. Except that his hammer was out of control.
Right. His hammer may have been fixed also. In other words, she cleaned 17 guns, right?
Mhm.
And at one point in the text messages, she's got the parts of the guns on the table. And there's a photo of them. And Seth goes crazy because he's right. You may mix and match these parts. You can't have these. You have to clean. What he's saying is you have to clean one gun at a time. And she was cleaning 17 guns at a time, right? So parts are everywhere. But getting back to the hammer that's stuck, she sends back to Seth Kenny. And how does he fix that hammer, in your humble opinion?
I'm not going to speculate on
Come
that.
on, you could speculate.
I don't know. Did he replace the gun? Did he disassemble it? I mean, the first thing I would think of, I was in the military, is I would disassemble the damn thing.
Right.
And then make sure everything's lined up and then put it together.
But what if you're in a hurry to get the gun back and they need that gun by the afternoon?
It depends.
The gun's
on,
already been exposed in the movie. The gun.
I know what you're looking for. Go ahead and spit it out. I mean, at least that, not WD-40. Sure.
Right. This is my Remington gun oil. And the point of the matter is, if you spray the Remington gun oil on the hammer and loosen it up and give it back, it's fine. Maybe Seth did that with the other guns to make sure it didn't happen again. And maybe there's a gun in Baldwin's hands that's got silicone spray all over the hammer and it's loosey-goosey all of a sudden because it's sitting in a silicone bath. Just an idea, folks.
Yeah. I'm definitely going to have to get more feedback on that one. I know it's a slippery situation.
It's a slippery. I'm just putting it out there as a dot. I'm not connecting the dot. I'm just saying that's one way to fix that hammer without taking it apart under stress, under the time that you're under pressure, is to simply take the Remington gun oil and spray that hammer. Now, when the dust settled, he may have taken all of them and sprayed them with Remington, or maybe she did. I'm not even saying he did it. Maybe she sprayed them to make sure that the hammer didn't get stuck again on any of the guns, because she points out, I would ask her, did you spray the guns with Remington gun oil? The hammers. I would simply say, how would you fix that? Did you spray the others? I mean, think about what she's talking about. She's talking about a stuck hammer. Forget about Seth for a minute. She's talking about a stuck hammer. She's never encountered that in her life, right? She can't fix it. She's cleaning 17 other guns. What is she using to clean them with?
Most likely gun oil.
Thank you. Thank you. So the gun gets back to Baldwin, and now it's got, let's, for argument's sake, a very, very well-oiled hammer with silicone spray.
Keep in mind, though, this is not the gun that had the stuck hammer. So this is another gun that she was cleaning that got to Baldwin.
I agree, but she's also claiming that she's cleaning 17 guns, which will include Baldwin's gun. She's cleaning all the guns in the movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
True.
Just to establish that. And I assume she's using Remington gun oil.
But I'm going to say it's unlikely, just from the mechanism, that even if it was just bathed in oil, let's say she took it in a bucket and just dropped it right into oil.
Okay.
The mechanics, and I don't know if Dickie's an expert or something, but I think it's a valid point that there is like a ratcheting mechanism and things in there that would be pretty difficult for it to catch like that.
It's an old gun.
It is a replica.
Okay. Right.
Not old.
Well, as she's pointed out before, because of the firing of all these different blanks and loads, these guns get immediately dirty. And that's why she was checking the barrels all the time. And that's why she had to clean up that one bullet that wouldn't go in the chamber, bullet number 6. It was stuck. There's a lot of dirt. And she said they drop the guns in the dirt. The bullets get in the dirt when they're riding. The dummies pop out of the belt when they're riding on a horse. There's a lot of dirt involved. And she's constantly cleaning these guns. So she's castigated by Seth for cleaning them simultaneously. But she's under a time restraint to get these guns cleaned on a nightly basis, Eric. You know what I mean? So she has the barrels out, and he's right. He's technically correct, Seth. You got to clean them one at a time. She says I'm doing them all at the same time. So I'm extrapolating that out, that I'm just spraying the shit out of these guns to get this over with.
Well, it could be. And we're going to come up with other reasons that she may have had to do that, or felt like she had to do that. That's coming up.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You talked me into it.
So how'd she get the damn job anyway? Let's see.
Oh, that's a good question. Right.
Most of the jobs I've gotten have just been like through word of mouth and everything, or like, you know, Seth works on getting them for me, or my dad gets them for me, or my dad got me on as his assistant the first time, you know, so I'm not really sure entirely what they are looking for. I know that they get a firearms license and everything, and a license for the area to shoot on and everything. But they usually get that. I don't even get that usually. So I'm not really sure in terms of what else. I know that Seth always tells me that I'm on his license to work with these weapons, and that's all I really know.
And that's kind of the same with Sarah, right?
Yeah. Not really sure what that's ever meant. Seth always just says Hannah and Sarah are on my license.
Okay, so the question she's referring to is, which is not in there, is what certifications do you have, if any, to be an armorer? And she says, we as police need A, B, C, and D.
Sure.
We deal with guns and kill people or whatever we got to do. What do you have? And she basically says, I have nothing.
Yeah, I mean,
whatever
they call me, he gave me that. My dad got me on, you know, standard. Yeah.
Right. But I mean, the question that she was asking was about certifications.
Yeah.
So she says the answer to that is, I am on Seth Kenny's license.
Or he tells me I'm on his license. Be more
right.
specific.
He tells me that. Now, that's a question I'd like to know the answer to. Is that legally allowed? And is her answer true? It's two separate things. He's not altering his license to put her name on for a 30-day movie.
No.
Right. Okay. So he's got a firearm license as a dealer, an FFL, I think it is, and that comes from DC. But what does that mean for her?
Yeah, I don't know. And that's something that way early in the show, when we were trying to figure out who the hell Seth Kenny was, I did say that he may have held the license. That he could have been.
But that's for him. What I'm saying is,
how
does that cover Sarah and her?
I don't know.
Is she conflating insurance with certification here? I mean, it just seems rather unfinished business in terms of the cops.
It could be. It's pure speculation. And
The cleanings does not explain the live
that's
round.
true.
That's true. We're not up to that yet, Code Monkey. But
and thank you. Much
thank you,
respect to
Jamie.
you, Jamie.
Thank you. We're trying to figure this out. I mean, look, we don't have the answers, bro. I mean,
No,
we're
we are speculating. I mean, we're throwing it out there.
These are dots that we're just putting out there that we're finding. I mean, I'm not connecting these dots. Nobody knows the answer to this yet.
Yeah, and Dickie, it's yes and no. There are requirements for the different licenses. I know that the state does acknowledge it, but there's still a federal firearms license.
Yeah, the federal firearms is what he's
overarching.
got. Yeah, he's got a federal license. And again, I don't know if that covers anybody except him. I don't understand what she's saying or what she says he's saying, if that's true.
Right.
And now keep in mind, she's suing him.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, just keep that in mind. She's
And
suing
we've
Seth
gone
Kennedy.
through that one too. But all right, so let's see. Now we're going to get into why, perhaps, almost. We're going to get into some of the accusations against her.
Oh.
Basically, I was told that I needed to shift my focus less on armor and more on props.
Who do they expect to take on the armorer role if it wasn't your?
I don't know. They told me, they said, yeah, we hear that you're taking.
Look, he's writing. Oh,
I know. I don't think he was, though. I think that was a fake out.
I know. No, that's what I'm saying. It's fine.
I think that was a fake
your
out.
armor job very seriously, but we need you to support props right now because props is also struggling. And I was like, okay, I'll try my best to do that. And they said, normally before that, I would kind of just hang out in the prop truck and work on the guns and just kind of be in there doing my own stuff if there weren't any guns on set. But after that, they had told me no, we want you on set. We want you as a present on set for props.
Okay.
All right, so this is starting to get into the a story actually we broke, and the LA Times used that of text showing where the production was saying, hey, appreciate what you're doing, but we definitely need you to be more focused on props. That nobody has denied that they felt like she was lacking on props. The question is coming in, though, was her doing props a distraction from her armor duty, yes or no? And that, I
don't think no comes into it. Yeah, there's only one answer to that question, and that's yes. And that's what I said on day one of the first episode we've ever done. The fact that and you'll see in the upcoming segment, they've got her pouring drinks in the bar and rolling cigarettes as props outside of the saloon and making saloon drinks while the guns are sitting around. It's outrageous. She should be suing the production for making her do this. It's absolutely outrageous.
That's a great point, but she's not. This is what I love.
I know, because she's in the business. She's part of the family that's filmed. Her father is a legend. She's not suing some small production company over their stupidity. She's taking it in the chin. She's
suing the guy that she's working with instead.
Well, that's over the distribution. That's over the distribution of the ammo. That's a separate issue. What I'm suggesting is the production company caused this problem because they're making the armorer become a prop person. And she explains why, and it's because
we're gonna go into that, but I'm still pushing back, saying she's suing she's part of one team, whether they're getting along or not doesn't really matter. But she's suing her side in a way. It's like
she's not. She's not. She's suing a guy who's outside of the production. She's not suing the production. That would be suicide in the film business. She knows that. She's suing the guy who's outside, and that's Seth Kennedy.
Okay, well, suicide or not, how many films is she going to work as an armor? Let's take bets.
I don't know.
I don't know if that's going to.
I don't know
if she's going to be able to do that again.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, so was split up quite a bit.
Can you give me some examples of what you would do, when you were assisting props?
Okay, yeah. So normally, I kind of, for the saloon scene, I would just kind of be standing there, watching over the guns and everything, checking them for the actors as I brought them into the actors. That's just my job as the armor. With the saloon and everything,
I'm pouring drinks for props. I'm running outside and rolling cigarettes. I'm like doing several different things and grabbing several different props and setting props up constantly.
It's amazing. You know, one of the reasons she explains why she has to do that is the prop master usually comes on a month before the shoot. In this particular shoot, Sarah came on a week before.
Well, we got that clip too coming.
Right, which you'll see. But the point of the matter is that she is now thrown in on set to do props, and the guns, they literally tell her, we want you to focus on props in the emails. That's a smoking gun. And I hate to use that analogy of their own culpability as a production by telling her to focus. Look, if she worked in locations, okay, I can see what you're saying. If she worked in craft services, they could say, we need you in props, which happens in.
No, I'm not disputing. I'm just saying that is a controversy, and I'm saying it's argued. Yeah, there's some who say no, yes, whatever. I have seen both arguing whether she should do. I personally am thinking they probably, even if she had all the time in the world outside of it, the job is too dangerous and important to have a second job.
Right.
I think
okay.
just for the
just
clarity
so you know,
of that.
they saw her sitting in the truck and they needed extra bodies. And sitting in the truck, she was dealing with her job, which is making dummy rounds, polishing the bullets, putting them in the belts in the truck. What they
or cleaning
saw,
the guns. She could have done one at
whatever,
a time,
right.
and it might have
What
taken
they
a while.
saw was a girl sitting in a truck. And they said, we need you to be on set for the props. That is just stupid. That is just sheer stupidity. And I believe negligence. And I believe that OSHA of New Mexico was correct in finding the production, the amount that they did. Well, there was as high as they could go. But I mean, the production has more culpability, I think, than individuals in this particular case.
Right. And that's why I still question her not going after production, because I don't think she.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And I think, look at the other ones that are going after the production, like Serge and, all these other people. So.
Well, I think the Hutchins family is going to go after the sheriff's department for releasing the photos of the dead cinematographer. I mean, it's outrageous.
Which they should. I mean,
it's outrageous.
Do I need that? No, I'm.
Dude, I couldn't even look at that.
I don't even know which one it is. I don't want to know. It's like I'm afraid to,
because it's a mess. Yeah. It's a freaking mess.
Yeah, that's
you may. I walk that line so you could sleep at night, Hunley. I'm the guy who has to look at those photos.
As you should. As you should. You're the adult here. Look, you got the tie. But Brad, I don't know that I'm arguing with Mark on it. So I don't.
This is Brad Gray. He used to be one of the big agents in Hollywood, Brad Gray. He later ended up running Paramount, I think, if it's the same Brad Gray.
Apparently. All right.
Thanks, Brad.
Mostly I thought that I was there doing props at the beginning just to help find everything, because we got hired on a week before. And normally you hire the prop master a month in advance. Sarah got brought on a week before. I got brought on a little after her. And so we were just kind of running around that first week trying to find props. And then I thought after that, after she got the assistant, I'd be able to focus more on the guns. But then production talked to me and said that I needed to focus more on props. So.
Okay. And who from production?
Gabrielle Pickle, and also the head of the art department, Brian.
By the way, a reach back, Mark. You were thinking that Sarah had been hired just a week before, and I think it might have been confusion because she had been hired a week before it started, not a week before the incident happened. So
I meant a week before the production started. What I meant was, and she reiterates that the prop person should be brought on a month before production. And she was brought on a week before the production, and Hannah was brought on days before the production, based on what she said there. And because of that, she explains that Sarah had to keep going into town to get rare props, and there was nobody on set to do props. See,
yeah, she was noted
they're saving $750 a week for 3 weeks. This is Gabrielle Pickle's move on the prop master. If 750 is her rate, maybe it's 1,500 a week. I don't know. You're saving 1,500 a week times 3. Now, the problem is you now have her on set, and this is just how productions work. You have her on set a week before the production starts, right? So now she's got to go get these rare props in Santa Fe or Albuquerque. And according to Hannah, she had to leave the set every single day to go get those props, which made Hannah the point person of props, thereby taking away her watching the guns, all to save $1,500 a week on hiring Sarah for 3 weeks prior to the 1 week, the month before. That was a move that Pickle made. And that's why Pickle is negligent in this situation.
Well, and Pickle did it also with the hotels that she didn't.
Right, but hotels are not going to kill you.
No. I'm saying that it's a pattern of behavior to cut costs in every direction, and this is just the latest one of them. No, I'm not in a bad mood, Susan. Sorry.
he's taking it out on me for some reason. I'm just here to try to get the story out. Hunley's on a rant today for some reason. I'm upset about the Supreme Court.
Please. Good Lord. Anyway, no, I'm just pointing out that that's another example of Gabby Pickle cutting costs every direction.
Right, but this involves safety. What I'm trying to say is you can pull people from locations, you can pull people from craft services, and you could make this thing work. But when you start pulling the armorer, and she has no assistant, it's crazy. It's especially on a Western.
Well,
she's got 17 guns to work with.
It's going to get worse.
Okay,
hold on.
And I was like, well, do you not want me to do props at all in this case and just focus on the guns? And they were like, no, like, we don't want Nicole stepping up and taking your position. We want you to step into this position, and we think it's a great opportunity for you. But really, I just got to do 2 jobs for less pay.
Yeah.
I love that sarcasm by her, because originally you and I, or at least I, thought that she wanted the money and agreed to it to get double pay. That was my own naivete about Gabrielle Pickle. What she's doing is not getting double pay. She's doing 2 jobs for half the money. So it's not a financial thing for her to do it. She's just doing it because she's a go-getter, and she wants to move up in the business, and she wants to get along with everyone. I thought initially there might have been a financial bonus for her. Boy, was I wrong.
Maybe. I don't know yet. I mean, it's still not in. But what I was going to point out is that Nicole was there. So there was another person technically who could have been pushed into the position.
Right, but she's totally green. She's totally green.
I get it, yeah.
Nicole. Yeah. So she's like a friend of Sarah's from what I gather.
Yeah, the
another good Christian
fiance's it's Sarah's fiance's sister.
Right. Okay. So she can only be assistant props or something, but she becomes the key assistant to props, I think. Hannah
does, yes, and that's why I was going to say earlier she was noted as key.
By the way, look how many pages of notes the male detective has written at this point. Take a look at that legal pad.
And then how many words the lawyer?
I'm surprised he's not drawing dicks or faces or whatever, but he's got enough discipline to not do that.
Somebody did point out that a lot of times the second detective's job is to just observe body language or whatever.
Right. Well, I'm saying that the pad's a prop. That's all I'm saying. He's not writing anything. I just find that amusing.
All right. So let's see.
Who hired you for Rust?
I believe, I'm not really sure. Seth just texted me and he's like, you got the job, prop assistant, so-and-so. I sent him my resume, and Sarah sent it in, and I think Roe approved it. And so Sarah hired me, Roe approved it.
Okay. So it's not like a typical hiring process for a job where you have to go in and...
Yeah, no, there's no real interviews like any time in film. Film is a very weird industry.
Word of mouth.
Word of mouth by all means. I think it's so weird how secretive it is almost, it's really hard to get on anything unless you know somebody. And if you stop working for a while, it's almost hard to jump back in it.
Yeah.
True.
She's very informative. She's very down to earth. She's very smart for her age. She's not hiding anything. There's no bullshit from her. She's a straight shooter, and I don't mean that as a pun. When you have to see these videos to really understand the case, and we've been waiting a long time, to see these videos. It really changes your perception of people to see and hear their tone of how they're delivering. Obviously, their body language, but not so much for me. It's really how she acts, how open she is, and how doesn't have any attitude about being in this business. She really denigrates it. She says there's holes in the system. She points out her own flaws by beating up on herself in the interviews. And she says it's really odd how you never have a face-to-face interview with anybody. She, literally gets this job because Seth Kenny is Seth Kenny and got her the job, for better or for worse.
That's the way all the jobs are gotten. I mean, you've been around. I mean, it's like, who do you know? I need such and such. Who do you know? I mean, the camera people.
Right. No, I'm not disputing that. What she's trying to do is explain it to civilians.
Sure.
That this is not how we work in this particular carny world of roustabouts. This is a whole different animal. And she's not explaining it with the attitude that Alec Baldwin had when he was explaining, these are squibs. They're going to put them they're going to put the squibs in the church. Don't you understand how squibs work? This is a blank.
The crew's a completely different animal than the actors or the talent.
Right. But very little attitude on her part. I mean, sarcasm, yes, but she's not smug. She's not arrogant. I mean, that's my takeaway from these things.
One quick note, as I was looking at the date just to verify it. This was actually November 9th. The incident was on October 21st. So it's almost 3 weeks.
Well, she points out that she had to go into hiding by coming into the big city because her place was out in the middle of nowhere. Because at the beginning, she says, "How was your weekend?" And she says, "Well, if you like death threats and people telling you to kill yourself, it was a great weekend."
Yeah, and it led into the hair color.
This is so sarcastically and so self-deprecatingly. I mean, it was kind of charming the way she said it. And the cops offered no solution or help or any empathy whatsoever. I mean, this poor chick had to God knows the texts and Instagrams that she received, after the incident.
I'm sure. Well, the Daily Mail was stalking her. I know that.
Right.
They had pictures of her on the phone.
Well, if you remember, her house was in the middle of nowhere. She couldn't hide there. So she must have gone and gotten a hotel in Santa Fe or Albuquerque or something.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Right. Keep in mind how influential the attorney is during this whole process.
Again, who provides the ammo?
So as far as I'm concerned, me and Sarah, we went together and we picked up the ammunition and all the weapons and my leathers from Seth Kenny in Albuquerque at his shop. We got 2 boxes of ammo, I'm pretty sure, that day. And then as we went on in the show, there were a couple of times that we needed more. So Sarah and I would text him, that we needed more. And occasionally Sarah brought in more ammo from Seth.
All right.
Okay, well, that's a little bit more information that she went together like a buddy system to get the ammo so they could vouch for each other. I mean, you and I were wondering how the ammo.
Right. Well, and I came to find out that Sarah works for Seth.
Right.
That she's his rep, for the store and and does all that. So it makes a lot of sense. More to come. I mean, obviously, I do communicate with Seth some, so I'm quite certain I will hear one way or another thoughts about all of this.
Really?
It's possible. It's very possible.
So you're saying you could receive messages in a bottle?
I could receive messages in a bottle.
At a later date?
Possibly.
Right. We could break this case wide open, Hunley, if we keep our wits about us.
Well, we're doomed then.
I mean,
what
do you got down the bottom there? Looks like you got a couple more.
Oh, we do. We've got 3 more. So
all right, let's roll.
Run this through.
So our actors or crew members on set, are they advised to self-inspect weapons?
I'm not really sure. Most of the time when they tell me, I'll go up to them and I'm like, here, and I show them it's clear, they'll be like, it's okay, I trust you. I say, don't trust me, go ahead and always check for yourself.
Okay.
But,
are they required to self-check?
No, not really.
Okay.
But I do show them every time before I hand them.
By the way, that has been verified because Alec Baldwin did state in his police interview that she say, "Oh, I'm going to check," and I'm like, "No, I trust you."
Right.
I trust
well,
you.
that's what most guys
he did say that. So he did state, "I'm going to continue with the next one because it's just a continuation."
Okay. All right.
All right.
Show them that the gun's clear.
Have you seen any of them do their own safety checks?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Jensen does his own safety checks. Travis does his own safety checks. Travis Amell. Devin was getting into doing his own safety checks because I taught him how to do it. So he was kind of getting better at that.
What would they do to do these checks?
Pull the hammer back to half cock, spin it around, and close it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So not pulling it rounds out, checking them themselves?
No, not really.
Okay. Has it ever been common practice for actors to do?
I'm not really too sure.
All right, I get it.
That's a great question. I mean, that Hancock delivers there because she's saying it's just a common practice that actors do. For a civilian, that's a really smart question. I got to give it to her, despite working at Hooters.
Well, it was a very solid question and
Yeah.
asking the previous. And actually, you know what? The last one here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, go on. I'm sorry. I thought that was the last one. I'm sorry.
What about on your last production? Did they ever do their own?
Nick Cage definitely did not. He barely really cared to train with the gun at all. A lot of actors sometimes will barely care to train with the gun at all and think that they'll just do it on the day. But yeah, no, not a lot of them take it out and check them.
Okay. When you or somebody gives a gun to an actor, do you tell them like, hey, these are the rounds that are in this gun? Like, do you tell them it's hot or cold, and then what kind of ammo is in the gun?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that question?
Yeah. So
I tell them, all right, so this is a clear gun if there's no dummies in it, right? If it's dummied up, I show them and I say this is dummied up, and usually I have the dummies that have no primer cap in there. So I'll show them that. And then if it's hot, I'll tell them it's hot, and I'll tell them 4 1/4 loads or 4/8 loads or
whatever is in the gun.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I let them know exactly how many is in there. And I put it exactly to where they'll shoot it and it'll go for that time.
Oh,
Okay.
she really knows her stuff. I got to tell you, for a girl who's 24, that was a great explanation of quarter loads and half loads and everything else. And the hot gun, the dummy gun, the cold gun. I mean, that's pretty professional what she's doing there, Eric. And she learned that obviously from her dad and from Seth,
Yeah.
who know their stuff.
But I think the other points too that are really salient is because there's a ton of arguments flying around of every actor knows or doesn't know. She just flat out said,
Yeah.
Nick Cage doesn't even bother. This one does. That one doesn't. Alec Baldwin's pretty clear. He's like, that's not my job.
As I said, going back to episode 3,
Clooney,
none of them do it. Nobody does it. That's why nobody understands what Clooney was talking about. I've talked to other stars. Nobody bothers to do this. They don't know what they're doing. It slows down the production. If they alter the gun, they got to be reset. And they do what basically she said, except for one guy, George Clooney, who says virtue signaling at a Mark Maron podcast.
Well, and to Travis Finnell, and
these are minors. These are minor
Right.
actors. I'm talking about stars. There's no star that does it, as far as I know. The only one I've ever heard is George Clooney. And I think that was virtue signaling, and it might have been an FU to Hollywood or something. An FU. I mean, he doesn't have a feud with Baldwin. I mean, why bring this up in a garage podcast with Mark Maron? What is Clooney hoping?
Well, he claimed to know Brandon Lee, and that Brandon Lee was at a family wedding, and that there was a relationship there.
Right.
So
then Clooney is the only guy who's a major star who does this, other than Don Cheadle or something, right? Who was the other guy? There was a black actor who did it.
Will Smith.
Oh, Will Smith. Maybe it was Will Smith. It was
Will Smith does it.
Yeah.
And apparently Will Smith can completely strip it and do all of it. So some just have an interest in guns. So I think those who have more of an interest are probably going to check it themselves as well, just because they know how to handle it and they like to do it, and they might be.
All I'm saying is Baldwin is not alone. She's saying I worked with Nick Cage, and keep in mind, before she worked with Nick Cage, she was on Once Upon a Time in Hollywood with her father doing the Tarantino film with Brad Pitt and these other major stars in guns. So the girl has been around. She has been around as an assistant on big movies. And what she's saying is, this is a shit show, but I took it up the rear to work with others and advance my career. That's why she says I took I took all this gruff, and you see this in the text messages where she says, I took all this abuse because I want to be a good participant, an eager beaver, work my way into the business. I mean, she's already in the business. You know what I mean? She's getting into the union in some of the text messages in IATSE 44. And she's working with Seth. Maybe we'll get into that in the next episode about.
We'll see what comes across the pike. If something comes, that's going to shape, how it goes. And, I'm reaching out. Hannah, you're always welcome. Please come on, talk to us. Tell us what's happening.
I'm a big fan.
Yep. Mark, we'll give you a very.
I'm in Hollywood. I mean, if you're in town, we can go to Hooters. Let me just put it that way. It's on me.
All right, and Al Mac. Okay, she didn't say a full safety check. I'm pointing out he had an interest in it and was doing more than Baldwin. Who's saying, "You got it? Okay, let me have it." So,
I don't know who Travis Finnell is, so it's what we're talking about here is the stars of individual.
Right. Well, Finnell's an up and coming. He was the lead in Vikings.
I'm sure he is. I'm just saying I don't know who he is, but
right.
Yeah.
He was the lead actor in Vikings, and he was probably the top billed actor outside of Alec Baldwin, who was left on there.
All right.
Minimalistic Mimi, thank you very much.
Thanks,
and that's
Mimi.
A minimalistic message. I
That's
appreciate
very short.
it.
I like that. There's no politics in it.
And on that note, actually, folks, if you like this and you want to see what's coming next, consider subscribing.
Wait a second. Forget about subscribing. Just PayPal me the money so we can get out of town and investigate all these cases. Forget about this subscribing thing has become a debacle. Just if you want to get to us, and who knows, PayPal might not even last by the end of the year, right, Eric?
Yeah, good point. Go to locals.
Right.
So we're always there.
Good solution. But the subscribing thing apparently is impossible, although I've seen it go up in the past couple
Now,
of
don't get confused, though. You want to, go in alphabetical order by first name. So you just PayPal Eric. It just makes more sense.
No, I understand. But if you want a big A guy, you could go with me, the A guy, and PayPal me, who has this rare stomach condition where my doctor said the only cure is to eat every day. And the cost of food, as many of you Americans have now experienced, is skyrocketing.
Yep, this is true. And somebody pointed out subscribers only mode is on. Yes, but that doesn't prevent anybody from watching. There can be anybody watching who's not a subscriber right now.
Right.
I put subscribers mode on partly because
what is subscribers mode? What is
that's what I'm about to explain.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I put this on because people get unsubscribed all the time and they tell me. So that's a check. If you try to make a comment, it'll say, "Hey, you're not subscribed. You can't comment." That's all it does is it state that you have to be subscribed to comment in the chat.
Yeah.
And you can always tell when I forget because you'll get offers to meet certain ladies and have 3-letter words with them. And there's a lot of them. So the bots start to get into the chat if I don't put the subscriber mode on as well. So it's a double reason. Please work with us. We're not trying to suppress anybody or anything. And we do definitely appreciate it.
Well, you can follow me at Lord Buckley on Twitter if you like. I don't know what Eric's doing over there, but I've been busy on Twitter the past few weeks, just writing crazy comical things that have no value to anybody. But if you like that kind of stuff, I'm over at Lord Buckley on Twitter.
I'm at Hunley Eric, also on Twitter. Locals is always good. Merch down below.
I forgot about the merch. Yeah. Look at that.
There's a sale. There's a sale, actually.
Let me tell you something. The Ministry of Truth, the new Ministry of Truth has their own merch page that I highly recommend because it has Ministry of Truth coffee mugs and all these other Orwellian Ministry of Truth products. As hard as it is to believe, I immediately went to their merch page to compare our merch page with the Ministry of Truth merch page. Ours is better, by the way. We have far more stuff than the Ministry of Truth. So if you're going to purchase, you purchase from us. Forget about truth.
I don't know if I'd like to forget about truth part.
Well, I mean the Ministry of Truth, the MOT, Ministry of Truth. Is the MOT is over there as a new thing under the Department of Homeland Security. The fact the CIA has a merch page too, by the way, but they've had that for a long time. They've got spy games. They've got the kids stuff. They've had that since Obama, the CIA kids page. But for an organization just starting, the Ministry of Truth, to start out with a merchandise page, I thought was rather humorous.
Well, and the fact that they're called the Ministry of Truth already,
Right.
again, irony is gone.
Yeah.
Irony is gone. And on that happy
Which is
note,
another reason to PayPal me, because I have irony. I have a lot of irony, and I can bring some to you.
well, and good news.
Right.
If you didn't get enough irony today,
Yeah. Oh,
Friday is going to be.
Oh my God.
Friday is going to be off the rails, off the hook. Barnes comes in, which means you may see me for a second, or you'll watch me.
He's going to get a sandwich, and then he's going to start eating it. He's going to start cooking ribs. Wouldn't it be great if you're on the side and you're just outside by your barbecue cooking ribs?
Yeah, maybe I'll do that. I'll come in by phone and I'll just be like, whatever.
No, the Barnes thing is going to be completely freeform. I'm not going to even suggest any topics to Barnes on purpose, and vice versa. So anything you see on Friday is completely without a net, no safety net, no talking points, no. Like, I understand Barnes sends these court cases to Viva, right? So they can have.
Oh no, they have a plan.
Right.
We have no plan.
We have no plan.
If you saw the episode last Tuesday,
right,
the last hour and change of that episode, or whatever it was,
right,
that's what Friday will be. So I want to set everyone's expectations.
Right. It could be a complete disaster. I'm not saying it's going to work. All I'm saying is this is without a net, completely free form. I have no idea what we're going to talk about, and either does Barnes, I imagine, but we're just going to go for it and just see what comes out. I have no idea. This could be a complete debacle.
I've seen it before, and it's
we've done it before. Yeah.
You might have to watch it 4 times to pick up everything, though. So it is maddening.
Right.
And on that note, everybody,
that's
see you Friday.
Oh, all right. That was easy.